Hello, 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 and today is not a combo guide, a tier list, play this character, or me trying to influence you in any way, shape or form. What we are doing today, however, is a series of case studies on all characters in Dragon Ball FighterZ, and today we're covering Andre 16. Now, when you look at Android 16, at a glance, when you first pick up the game, he's a bit of a bruiser. Dazzling command grabs, combos that go on forever. Like all of this stuff, and lots of slamming into the ground when you first see Android 16. So if you're really interested in this really strong, literally a brick house character of all types of grabs and shapes or forms, then Android 16 is for you. Now, as always in these case studies, I'm going to talk about zones. So you can hear me talk about up close, mid-range, and far. So that's kind of how I like to explain the game to people who don't understand concepts. So it's much easier to explain in the grounded concept in that way. We're going to talk about buttons on the ground, in the air, supers and specials before we delve into win conditions and game plans and what kind of things Andre 16 is looking for in a partner. And without further ado, let's begin. So up close, Android 16, his 5L is -8. So that is punishable even by himself. And his 2L is -4. So he's got good range, as you see here. Doesn't hit in the mid range, but it advances slowly. So he can't chain his 5LL, but he can do his 2. He can do his 2L like this. So you can chain that as well. It's 5LL -10. So again, you're not gonna end strings like this versus some characters. If he does 5LL, is a grab, but it doesn't work if you're up close. Now his 2M is -12, but this has very good range. This hits at round start. So at the mid range, this will hit, still being -10. His 5M is -4. So this is kind of where he's gonna end, where you're gonna end most of your strings. So -6 here. And -4 around here. 1 second, do it. We like -4 here. Oh, there you go. Can't do it again. Can't do it again. There we go. Let's do it in a second. So it's still -6 anyway. So all of them are punishable, but this is kind of the end of it you're going to use with 16. This is going to be kind of his best ender. So watch out for that. 5H. It's -8. Works from just about round start. 17 to 19 frames. This is a really, really good move. It's got armor. What I mean by armor is if your opponent decides to kind of press a button, you need a better one. There we go. So it doesn't start up immediately as you saw there. Let's do it one more time. So it's not immediately. It takes some time to kind of start with the armor. So as you saw there, a lot of them are kind of minus some blocks. So let's go to the air button. So in the air, he's got jump L. This is a really good approaching tool. Reason being, he can do jump LL. His jump M hits from absurd ranges by staying in front on himself, and it will crush you up when you have no idea how it hit you. His jump 2M, put the opponent on crouch, is a high. So this is something your opponent has to worry about when this is combined with cross ups and sort of the same sides and super dashes. That is an overhead. It is a bit slow, so it's not something that's going to kind of bedazzle the opponent, but it's something that he is able to do. Now let's go into his supers. So his level 1 is Hell's Flash. Rest in peace to Imperfect Cell. He's got 2 level 3s, so he's able to do level 1 in there as well. His level 3 is a bigger Hell's Flash. This is big RIP to Cell. Same stage. He has another level 3, his self-destruct. which takes 1,000,000 years to grab you, but automatically kills the character and leaves you with 1 health. So that's 3 bars, and that's the Hail Mary finisher right there. Now let's quickly go into his specials. So specials, as I said, he's a grab master. So let's go into his specials. Special 236L, great range command grab, 17 frames. Hits from really not so far out, so you gotta be a bit close. But it's 17 frames. His M grab 236M, as you saw there, from about mid range, and even further out, just a bit further out. Your opponent has to worry about that, and you can extend after. 236H is the exact same, just a tiny bit faster. Now that's on the ground. Now he also has air versions. So 236L slams to the ground. 236M has a going forward motion, and 236H is a much faster version than the other ones, and you get a follow up as well. On the ground, he also has 214L. Again, that's a grab that's going up. Primarily using combos. 236M, and then 236H. Now the cool thing about 236H is, as you saw there, it's invincible to jump attacks. So this is kind of a great escape for 16 when people are pressuring him with IADs. Well, I mean, but I'll quickly show you. So as you see there, it's able to beat out those things there. So it's a really, really good move to kind of, aside from obviously his 2H, which he has one of the slower 2Hs. Now those are most of his specials of 16. He does have 236S, which is -1, so he shoots down forward. Then he has 214S, which is +4. So the difference between them, if you look closely, one is shooting forward, and one is shooting directly forward towards him. See, that's down towards the opponent, and this is right in front of him. So this one is +4, and this other one is -1. So the difference is speed. So as we said, he's not many ways to end strings, but here is -1. If the opponent stands, still -1. So as you see there, it's +4 or -1, depending on which one you use. One's being slower than the other. Now I could spend all the time in the world talking to you about specials and commands and the character. But as always, we like to talk about win conditions and game plan, and what in particular is 16 looking for in a partner. So let's delve into that. So we talked about up close how 16 has loads of grabs and loads of ways to kind of get his opponent to be honest in their approach and how they're going to approach 16, even getting back in him, making them back off and the like. But in the mid range, 16 also has this and really far reaching normals that he can end into safe specials to really continue pressure. However, 16, what he really enjoys is stray hit conversions, as his 236L allows him to gain knockdowns. What I mean by that is, if 16 was able to hit his opponent, 16's level 1 here gives him a knockdown there, and in the corner he's 236L right there, as you saw there, it gives him a knockdown. So 16 really enjoys assists that allow him, do it again, that allow him to use this 236L for a knockdown, which allows him to kind of continue his pressure. So assists that allow him to convert from stray hits going into one of his grabs, that will allow him to use this grab here to slam his opponent down on the ground, or what he kind of enjoys. We saw how I was able to do it with hit assist. I'm very sure you can do it with Broly. It's been a while, but I'm sure you can do it with Broly. So again. So it's a bit hard, but you're able to do it with Broly as well. Just a bit, kind of a bit of practice. And what else he enjoys? He enjoys assists that allow him to traverse space. So as you saw from full range, all he has here is his 5S. Aside from this, he doesn't really have much here. He allows assists that allow him to traverse from here to this range where he's really a lot more effective. So we saw with hits assist really doesn't allow, hits assist will allow him to run forward. So potentially you could use this. But we can see with Broly's A assist how it's really helpful for 16 to traverse in this space. So that's something that he kind of enjoys there. Now let's go into the B assist. Let's see what B assist we have here. Now we have hits B assist. Obviously this is full screen. It is a bit on the slower end, but it does allow him to kind of traverse space and his opponent to kind of have to worry. So that's kind of assist he's looking for. We have Broly's A assist. You could even use that because it does allow him to kind of move effectively through space. And we talked about conversions. Again, see, it allowed him to do that. Now we would hit assist if it allows. See, it's a bit on the slower end, so that is something you do have to think about. So maybe just a bit of practice. Now with C assists, if we were to grab C assists, now C assists, majority of them always help. So yeah, with 16, this C assist will definitely help him with getting in or traversing space from mid to this range to here. And obviously he's able to confirm the combo with hit C assist as well. If you combine that with the fact with movement and obviously with combos, if it allows them, let's see. See, maybe just a bit of practice. Try again. See there, so Broly obviously allowed for a conversion, so I'll be able to get this grab after. So those are the kind of things he's looking for. Now on the other side we have Bardock with Bardock A assist. Standard assist for allowing 16 to do this, and also Videl. So these assists allow him to do that. So they allow him to get the 236L knockdown. Traversing space, they're both on the ground. So while 16 is probably moving around in the sky, they're able to give him approach, or they're able to give him a horizontal approach. So maybe you could use these assists. Videl, not so much range on her, but if you come out with Videl's. So from full screen, not so much. However, and even with Bardock, however, once he jumps around, enters mid-range, they do give him some presence. So it's something you do think about when you're picking these assists. Now, we've talked about game plans as 16 and kind of the things he's looking for and the partners he's looking for, as he's really powerful, obviously, getting into the corner, the right assist, and we also use 2-6L. You're really cutting down your opponent's options dealing with these grabs, as you can't walk back from grabs in the corner. So cornering with command grabs makes a lot of sense. Now, what about fighting against 16? And let's delve straight into that now. So 16, as we talked about, 16 really doesn't have a safe way to stagger. Now what I mean by that is his 5L is -8. His 5LL is -10. His 2LL from here pushes your opponent out. His 5M is -6. Unless he ends on his 5M, any other button he ends with is punishable. Every single one. So if he decides to kind of go into 1, 2, 3, 4 into this, your opponent can reflect. You will be safe, and your opponent can't mash there. But that's where he's ending his pressure. He's ending his pressure there. There's nothing else coming after that. So your opponent's either able to reflect and try to take their turn back, or even escaping the situation. So that's something that 16 has to worry about. So he can keep up pressure, but aside from doing the 236S or 214S, he has no real safe way to stagger. He can't stagger with normals alone. He has to end in a string, like so, otherwise, or a command grab. So if we combine that with, like, obviously we have hits assist over here. Now, you can do obviously tricks. Your opponent can trick you. So if you do have like hits A assist, say my opponent put jab on. See, if I do have hits A assist. 1 second. See, I can do stuff like tricking them with hits A assist, or if I have Broly's B assist, I can put my opponent in situations. Let me show if I do it. See, even then it's still very minus. It's really hard to kind of set this up, but you can bait your opponent like there. I can bait my opponent to press, but as you saw there, he's very minus, so he really has to end his strings in either a safe special, a command grab, or obviously escaping, like so, or really trying to mix up his opponent with ways like that. So doing unsafe strings, so doing like LL and really baiting out the opponent there, or doing that something like that with Broly assist. Like this, so he has to do really, opponent has to be really intuitive to kind of really bait out the buttons there. And now full screen, kind of the most important, but full screen. Let me get Broly out, but full screen. Android 16 really suffers versus characters with 5 S's. As you saw there, his one is 27 frames. And obviously it clashes with these person's beams. If you look how far back I'm doing Broly's one, he really suffers versus characters with these angles. So that's really hard for him to deal with when you are playing as Android 16. The character with beams, so when he is at that full screen, he doesn't really want to engage there. He really wants to move in from full screen to the mid range, because like I said, he is going to suffer versus these characters. Let's go back to character select screen. So where is 16? There we go. So we talked about Android 16, how as a character he's very powerful with grabs, and 236L and all of these buttons are basing your game around landing 236L and stray hit conversions from into his 236L is kind of what he's looking for. So if we're looking at, we looked at hits assist, how it allows him to continue his combos from stray hit conversions to getting that knockdown from that 236L and getting him close to the corner. So the more the opponent's close to the corner, they can't walk away from grabs, and they really, there's that threat is still there. So hits assist was really helpful for him, and we saw with Broly as well. His A assist allowed him, his second kind of game plan or win condition was traversing space from far to mid range. Broly's assist, A assist and B assist were both helpful in doing this in straight conversions. With the C assists, not so much. We saw with Broly's was helpful. With hits it wasn't so much. We saw with Bardock, where is Bardock? We saw with Bardock and Videl. We saw how they were both very helpful in him moving from mid-range to close, but from far to mid-range not so much. But obviously with conversions they were really helpful. Now fighting against Android 16, we talked about he has no real safe way to stagger. Majority of his strings, his best minus on block is -4, being his 2L, but again that pushes you out, and everything else after that is either -6, -8, -10 or -12. So unless he ends his string into either his up grab with an assist or a special, he's really taking a risk every single time he tries to engage you with the string. So your opponent or yourself is more likely to take more risk there. But we saw there how with hits assist or with Broly, you can bait out the opponent by doing the 5L vs -8 into 2-1-4L. Your opponent tries to press, they're getting hit by an assist. So those are the type of things you're kind of looking for with 16 when you're fighting against 16 and how they mitigate it. And full screen, as we saw easily with Broly, as we can do with majority of the Gotenks, Vegito, he really suffers versus people with or characters with traditional 5Ss that have more than one hit, or most importantly with beams. So he really has to kind of mitigate that by moving from that full screen to mid range, as we talked about with one of his win conditions is moving from that space from full screen to mid range. So he just needs assist to help him in that. But like as always, I hope you all liked the video. If you liked it, leave a like, leave a comment. As always, if you did enjoy it or if you just want to talk, we always want to create like a community where we really talk about these things and we really think about our character choices, and not based them on others' opinions, but really based them on how the characters themselves can be strengthened and how we can help the characters and then fit that to our playstyle. But I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.